Silverstone for the final weekend in the BRSCC Mazda MX-5 Championship. And with me is Lyndsay. Lyndsay, we've missed you for the last couple of races. What's been happening?
Well, unfortunately, there's a new little Mazda baby coming to the paddock this year round, and it's my turn, apparently. But yes, no, me and my other half, Mike, who races in the championship, we've taken a little bit of a step back because, by all means, there's a little one growing here. It's going to be a new driver for next year, Lloyd.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. That's what we like to see. Start them young. Start them young. Now, the big thing this weekend is going to be the championship battle between John Langridge and Will Blackwell-Chambers. What's going to happen there?
Well, by all means, I've been following this. It's nail-biting at this point. There is...
You're right here. Yeah. I've literally bitten my nails.
It's, I think coming into this weekend, there is literally less than a handful of points between John and Will. And we all know Will's won it for the past 2 years. John's been right behind him, but John has got the edge. So can you do it? I'd like to think so, but by all means, I can't wait to just see them on track.
No, it's going to be great fun to see what happens out there. It's going to be some close racing. And as you say, it could go any way between Will or John. Let's see what happens over the next 3 races. It's over to our commentary team to take you through the first race action.
Thanks, guys. Well, 8 points is all that separate them in the championship, and here is where they line up. It's Langridge on pole, crucially, with Ali Bray alongside, and then Fraser Fenwick, who's on form this weekend. Blackwell-Chambers in 4th. Matt Pollard and Matt Luffer next, then Jason Greatrex and Adam Bessel, with Brian Trott making a welcome return, and Steve Foden alongside him on row 5. Will Hayden and Jack Brewer are next ahead of Joe Wiggin, all the way down in 13th on the grid, and Martin Tolley 14th. Then it's Charles Mugglestone with Dave Turton, Adam Sparrow and Sam Smith, whilst Ian Blake and Seb Fisher round out the top 20. It's a big grid, 34 cars set to take to the circuit for this first A race of the weekend, and a championship to be settled over the 3 races this weekend at Silverstone. Here we go then. This is going to be an incredibly tense final few races of the season, I'm sure. In the 2019 Mazda MX-5 Championship, the lights go out and then back on and then back out again, and we are away and racing at Silverstone, and it's a good start made by both the front row men, actually, and Ali Bray might have his nose in front. In fact, he has his whole car in front, and look at how keen John Langridge was to ensure that Will Blackwell-Chambers didn't go through. He could afford to lose the lead there to a non-championship rival, but he could not afford to allow Blackwell-Chambers ahead, and Langridge, so far so good, has kept his big rival behind him. Onto the brakes then into Village Corner. It's 3 and 4 and even 5 abreast further back. 1 or 2 are inevitably going to run wide, but let's hope they all avoid contact through the right-hander. On board with Charles Mugglestone then, who's got a sea of traffic in front of him, and no doubt a similar view in the rear view mirror. Out a few of the quick runners there further back. There's the red and white car of Mugglestone, who we were riding on board with. We are again now as he looks to the inside of Martin Tolley, heading down the hanger straight for the first time. But here comes the first attack from Will Blackwell-Chambers to try and get himself ahead of John Langridge. Goes to the inside down to Stowe Corner and does it. He goes through. So as things stand, he would take 2 points out of Langridge, or would he? Langridge might be able to fight back here. He's eased off the road, keeps his foot in the door though, and John Langridge gets the inside line back again into Vale. And again, Blackwell-Chambers cannot afford to let any other cars come through, because Blackwell-Chambers arrives here at Silverstone 8 points behind Langridge. So as a bare minimum, he has to beat Langridge in all 3 races. That is the least that he can afford to do this weekend. Ideally, needs a few cars to get between them though, and that's why Langridge and Blackwell-Chambers both being quite cagey about letting other drivers get into their private battle. So it's Bray that leads the way then. 2nd place for Langridge, 3rd Blackwell-Chambers, on board with Charles Mugglestone further down the order as he tries to attack Joe Wiggin. Now Joe Wiggin has won 8 races so far this season, and most of them, in fact all of them, have come in the last 3 meetings. He's won 8 of the last 9 races of the year. The only other man to have won a race is Ben Short, who's not here this weekend, and he won the middle race at Alton Park. So you would expect Joe Wiggin to be here at the front of the field, and he's not. He qualified 13th, not a million miles off the pace, but you don't have to be in this championship. All of a sudden you find yourself a long way down the grid, so Wiggin one to keep an eye on. Langridge though, attacking for the race lead, goes to the inside of the AB Motorsport car of Ali Bray, and Will Blackwell-Chambers has no choice but to go with him. Langridge runs to the edge of the road, but there is Blackwell-Chambers back up the inside line again down to Vale Corner. We're into the closing stages of this race now. This is the fight for 2nd place and for the championship lead. They're leaning on each other again, Langridge and Blackwell-Chambers, and Joe Wiggin is arriving on the scene, and Adam Bessel and Matt Pollard as well, and they're both going to lose out to Joe Wiggin, and Adam Bessel's up the inside too. 3 abreast once again, the top 2 in the championship in such a precarious position. Matt Pollard thinks, this looks fun, let's make it 4 wide going on to the final lap of the race. He backs out of it, Bessel backs out of it, and Langridge keeps Blackwell Chambers behind him. They're both losing places, but critically, Langridge is keeping Blackwell Chambers at bay, and that means that right now he would outscore his championship rival by 4 points, 2 finishing ahead of him, and a bonus 2 points for the fastest lap. Blackwell Chambers, though, onto the final lap of the race, is trying to do something about it. There's contact between the two of them, and Adam Bessel gets up the inside now. That did not work out well for Will Blackwell Chambers. He went for a move, it did not work, and he has ended up coming off worse by losing the place to Adam Bessel. Down the hanger straight they go, half a lap to go now in this. It's only race 1. I don't think my heart can take 3 races of this. The championship will go on to the second race regardless what order they finish in this race, but Langridge at the moment would go into that penultimate round of the year with a pretty handy points lead. For the podium places, it's still all to play for between Matt Luff and Ali Bray, with Matt Luff trying to fend him off. Joe Wiggins come from 13th on the grid to 4th, but this man, Fraser Fenwick, is going to come through to take what I believe is his first ever Mazda MX-5 Championship A-race victory. He comes through Club Corner, and in a sensational race, definitely the race of the season, he will take the checkered flag by over 5 seconds in the end. What order are they in behind, though? It will be Luff, Bray and Wiggins, 2nd, 3rd and 4th, and Blackwell Chambers bullies his way back up the inside of Adam Bessel. That was critical. He gets into 6th position, but Langridge is ahead of him. He maintains the fastest lap as well. 4 points taken out of Blackwell Chambers by John Langridge, who comes home in 5th position. Steve Foden's behind the pair of them in 7th, Brian Trott 8th, because Adam Bessel was given a track limits penalty. Matt Pollard was 10th, Sam Smith was 11th, and Seb Fisher 12th, and Jason Graytrex, Jack Brewer and Adam Sparrow to round out the top 15. What a race that was. Well done to Fraser Fenwick for the victory, but it's very much advantage Langridge in the championship.
Fraser, congratulations on your win. Must be massive taking a win here at Silverstone in the MX-5 Championship, although you need to be a little bit careful about what you do with trophies.
Yeah, the trophy didn't go too well. It didn't go too good for that, but it went amazing for me. You know, third meeting, sorry, and just to come out and win. You know, it's never been happier in my life. You know, I stood on the podium shaking. That's why it fell out of my hand. But you know, I'm more happy for Ali than I am for myself. You know, to have 3 of his drivers on the steps, it's just amazing for him and for me.
We're in the holding area for the second A race here at Silverstone in the BRSCC Mazda MX-5 Championship. Reigning champion Will Blackwell Chambers starts right behind his main championship contender John Langridge. John is 16 points clear in the table going in to this second race. And John, it was a bit interesting yesterday between you and Will, but you've got a 16-point lead now going into the final 2 races. It's almost yours for the taking, isn't it?
Oh, if only it was that easy. It was quite spicy yesterday. Mazda racing always is, and you can't guarantee anything in this game. There are 2 races to go. The circuit here is fantastic for overtaking, so anything can happen.
From your point of view, is it just a case of keeping Will behind you and keeping the points, or are you going out for the win?
I think you just got to do the race, as I have been doing all year. It's been successful so far, successful formula for me, so that's all I can do. I can't control Will, I can only control myself, so I've just got to get stuck in and make no mistakes.
Well, we wish you all the best out there, as always, John. We'll let you get into your race preparation, but thank you for taking the time to speak to us, and we'll catch up with you afterwards.
Thanks, Lloyd.
Well, there we go. That's someone who's got a little bit of nerves there, getting out there on track. As he said, anything can happen. He's just got to try and keep Will behind him and keep that points gap. It's over to the commentary team to take you through all of the race action.
Well then, this could be the race in which John Langridge wraps up the title. The grid based upon the race 1 results, so it's Fraser Fenwick on pole with Matt Luff alongside, Bray and Wiggin row 2, he was one of the drivers of race 1, then the 2 championship contenders, Langridge and Blackwell Chambers sharing row 3, ahead of Steve Foden, Brian Trott, Adam Bessel and Matt Pollard to round out the top 10. Right down at the back of the grid, we've got our 5 drivers that were promoted from the B race, Adam Craig, Richard Wootton, Alan Hawkins, Ollie Jenkins and Callum Graytrex to bring up the rear. The penultimate round of the 2019 Mazda MX-5 Championship takes place on a damp but more or less dry circuit. Lights out, away they go. Good start made by Joe Wiggin. Look from the inside of row number 2, on board with Adrian Burge from a bit further down the order, but it will be, I think, yeah, Matt Luff that gets the lead from the inside of row 1. That's the damper side of the road as well, so that's pretty impressive, but he gets the lead into the first corner. The usual 3 and 4 wide shenanigans further back. Number 95 goes through there, just about staying out of trouble through that first corner, Ian Blake, and then they come into the real pinch point, and Blackwell Chambers is losing ground already, look, because he's got a few cars between himself and John Langridge, but Langridge is very much in front. Through comes some of the drivers that were promoted from the B race earlier on, Greatrex, Richard Wooden and others. But as they go onto the angle straight for the first time, it's Luff that leads the way. Fraser Fenwick second. We're back on board with Adrian Burge now. And that looks like it might be Charles Mugglestone in front of us. Yes, I think it is. There's Langridge then, the grey car, looking for third up the inside of Ali Bray, and Blackwell Chambers is all the way down in about 6th or 7th place, and he could be about to lose out even further because Joe Wiggin is going up the inside of him. So Blackwell Chambers does not look as though he's going to be able to do much about Langridge, at least in the early stages, but as we saw in yesterday's first race, things can change remarkably quickly in MX-5 racing, so I'm not counting him out just yet. Fraser Fenwick looking for another lead change, that's 2 within the space of the first lap, and he goes back to the front now, ahead of Matt Luff. Langridge in third. Now, if Langridge wins the race, that makes it pretty simple. I think that means that, more or less, he's won the title, especially if Blackwell Chambers is off the podium. It all comes down to drop scores, though. That's where the complication comes from. They both had non-finishes this year, so neither of them can really afford a particularly bad result, but if they were to have one, it could become a drop. Another lead change now, it's the third of the race. It's going to be impossible to keep track of how many we have, but I can at least count to 3, and I can tell you that. Championship though, only 1 lap to go in this penultimate race of the season. There is 1 car between John Langridge and Will Blackwell Chambers, but it's Langridge ahead. He would outscore Blackwell Chambers by 4 further championship points if things finish as they are now, and if things finish as they are now, that might just be enough for him to provisionally at least more or less wrap up the title, barring any real disaster in the final race of the year. Still over half a lap of this one to go yet though, and Blackwell Chambers is back with them again. 1 last roll of the dice, 1 last chance to try and get himself ahead of that grey and green number 5 car, but John Langridge at pretty much all times in this race has been able to keep at least a 1-car buffer between himself and Blackwell Chambers. The race leaders meanwhile, side by side going into Stoke Corner, and Fraser Fenwick is also giving this 1 last shot to try and double up here at Silverstone. Matt Luff had the inside line into Stoke Corner though, so he goes into the corner ahead. He comes out of the corner ahead as well, and there's really only 1 more overtaking opportunity left. That's down into Vale Corner, this next left-hander. Middle of the road defensive line taken by Luff, so Fenwick tries to send it right round the outside to get the inside for Club Corner, which he might just have done. They almost lean on each other. It'll be a drag race through the final corner, but Matt Luff has the wider line, he has the momentum, and now for the first time he has the checkered flag. Matt Luff wins the 2nd race of the weekend at Silverstone. Fraser Fenwick comes home 2nd, 3rd will be Ali Bray, but 4th position for John Langridge, and if it doesn't officially seal the deal, it puts him very, very close now to his first ever MX-5 Championship title. 5th position for Brian Trott. Blackwell Chambers is 6th, Joe Wiggins 7th, Jason Greatrex 8th with Seb Fisher and Adam Sparrow rounding out the top 10. Will Hayden was given a post-race time penalty for exceeding track limits, unfortunately, with Jack Brewer, Steve Foden, Matt Pollard and David Waters next. 4 retirements, they all get relegated then for the next race. Scott Leach, Oliver Graham, Charles Mugglestone and Sam Smith, with Ollie Jenkins, the last of the finishers, also being relegated to the B race. 1 more race to go then, and Langridge may well be on the verge of the championship.
Matt, well done. You made it up from 2nd to the 1st step on the podium today. Good racing.
Yeah, I mean, from the start, it was me and Fraser were pushing each other along. Yeah, I mean, we broke a gap at the start, broke from the pack. Yeah, and we kept our heads down, stay consistent. And before we knew it, we had sort of a 4, 5, 6 second lead on the rest of the field. Yeah, and in the last few laps, we just started battling a little bit, and yeah, I came out on top, so very pleased.
Well, it's the final race of the BRSCC Mazda MX-5 Championship of the season. Rain is starting to come down here at Silverstone, Lyndsay, and John Langridge ahead of Will Blackwell Chambers, not only in the points, but on the grid as well.
Yeah, I'm actually not sure how this season's going to go, and I just want to catch up with our last 2-year championship in a row. Now, Will, you're no stranger to pressure at all. How are you feeling right now?
Oh, there is no pressure. When you're chasing, it's an awful lot easier. it's not been the most fortunate of years. This weekend possibly could have gone better, but yeah, we're chasing. We'll see what we can do, but it's an awful lot of points to try and catch.
Yeah, unfortunately it is, but that doesn't mean that the whole thing is done and dusted. We all know you are a man that has magic behind you, so is there any tricks you think you can pull out?
Well, my trick from last year is in the wrong race. He's already been in the B race, so my favourite Mr. Water Dumping Systems failed me. My teammate's already blown up his diff in the second race, which didn't help me, so I'm kind of out of tricks at this point.
Oh man, well you're still going to give us an exciting race, especially with this rain coming. Have you got any thoughts?
Fingers are crossed, legs are crossed. Please rain, please, so much.
Honestly, I'm kind of hoping for it myself. I think it's going to make an even more interesting race than what I'm expecting so far. So for the last and final time this year, I'm going to hand it straight over to Andy McEwan.
Thanks, Lyndsay. So it all boils down then to this, the final 20-minute race of the season. Here is the grid. Again, it's based on the race 2A result. So it sees pole position taken by Matt Luff, Fraser Fenwick alongside him, Ali Bray third, and John Langridge fourth, with Blackwell Chambers fifth. Blackwell Chambers mathematically can still win the title, but realistically, he needs to win the race, he needs the fastest lap, and he needs to hope that something dramatic happens to John Langridge. So for Langridge, it's all about survival. If he finishes this race somewhere in the top 10, it should be enough to guarantee the championship. The final race of the season then is underway, and a good start made from the inside of row number 1 by Fraser Fenwick. Not a great start by Luff from the outside of row 1, and Ali Bray immediately moves to challenge anyway. It's actually Bray that gets into the first corner first, and immediately contact for John Langridge. What was I saying about how he had to survive this race? He gets away with it, but the first corner contact was not in the script for Langridge. Has that cost him momentum? Let's hope it hasn't damaged the car. Blackwell Chambers goes to the outside there into Village Corner as they all come through this first sequence for the first time in this final race of the year. Caught a glimpse there of the light blue and white number 4 of Adam Bessel. He fell down the order somewhat towards the end of the previous race. That's why he's mid-grid for this one, having been a front runner all weekend. On board with Langridge though, he's ahead of Blackwell Chambers, check. He's still in the race, check, and he's actually still inside the top 5, and he might be about to challenge for a podium because it's side by side in front of him. Look, Matt Luff about to lose out to Fraser Fenwick for second place, and Langridge will try to follow him through if he can. It's Jason Greytrex, the red and white car, immediately behind him. So again, somehow through it all, Langridge seems to come out with this little buffer over Will Blackwell Chambers, which he's had on several occasions this weekend, which has proved to be very, very handy for him. Onto the brakes, around the outside of Matt Luff goes John Langridge. That gives him the inside for Club Corner, and I think he should be able to go ahead. Luff's out wide. Can he get back in line before Greytrex gets there? That's the question. Jack Blue, the yellow and red car. There is Adam Bessel. Now he's one to watch here, I think, in the 4 car. As I said, front runner all weekend. He should be able to improve upon 17th on the grid. It's Ali Bray, though, that leads the way. Fraser Fenwick second. John Langridge goes third now, the inside of Matt Luff through the first corner, so he completes the move that he started about half a lap ago. And then here comes Blackwell Chambers. He's got to try and get ahead of these two before Langridge escapes up the road, but he's got Joe Wiggin going up the inside of him. They're all skating around under braking as Steve Foden goes around the outside. There was contact there, I think. And where did Blackwell Chambers end up? Will Blackwell Chambers is not there with them. He's gone off the road. That surely is it now for the championship hopes of Will Blackwell Chambers. He has gone from this picture. He should be in amongst this group, but contact at the right-hander at Village, and there you can see him in the background. He's well down the order, possibly outside of the top 10. They're on to the final lap of the race, though, and the last lap of the season. Ali Bray looking for his first win of the year. Fraser Fenwick and Matt Luff looking for their second. John Langridge just looking to try and win the championship in this final race, and they're 3 abreast into Village Corner. Fraser Fenwick goes around the outside line. He might go for the race lead here. He is. He's alongside Ali Bray for the race lead with just over half a lap to go. All of this happening right in front of John Langridge, who I think is, well, he's not bailing out, is he? He's back up the inside of Matt Luff there for third position. 4 drivers as one in true MX-5 Championship fashion are about to settle this in a real ding-dong run to the flag. Oh, there's contact there between Fenwick and Bray as they went down the back straight. Bray's muscled his way back up the inside line, though. John Langridge is on the inside of Matt Luff as well. Side by side for the lead, side by side for third position. 3 more corners to go, and Bray has got the lead back, but he's sideways at Stowe Corner. Might run a bit wide. Langridge gets a nerve from Matt Luff and goes for the race lead. John Langridge from third to first in the penultimate corner, and he's gone past all of them. Phenomenal driving from Langridge. Oh, contact right behind him. Sideways for Ali Bray, he saves it, but that could so easily have taken out John Langridge. As it is, he will win the final race of the season, and John Langridge in spectacular fashion wins the 2019 Mazda MX-5 Championship. A remarkable season, a remarkable final race of the year, a phenomenal final lap of racing there that really has epitomised the sort of action we've enjoyed all season, and it's Langridge who comes out on top. Luff is second, Fenwick third, Bray in fourth, and Will Hayden fifth, with Joe Wiggin, Jason Greytrex, Jack Brewer, Seb Fisher, and Steve Foden rounding out the top 10. Blackwell Chambers was 12th in the final race of the season. Not enough, unfortunately, to take the championship. That will go to John Langridge. But Blackwell Chambers was a fierce rival for John all season long. In the end, though, it is John Langridge who takes his first ever Mazda MX-5 Championship.
John Langridge, 2019 BRSCC Mazda MX-5 champion. How does that feel?
That's quite nice. Yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah.
It's been a tough few weeks because Will is so hard to beat. So hard to beat, like consistently, to catch up the points loss we had after Anglesey. And we just kept chipping away, and that race was fantastic. Just now, the Blink car was so good, and it was. I think after the second race, we pretty much had it, and so I was able to just drive freely, and that was mega.
That was good to watch as well. The last couple of laps, could just see you chipping away, going at it bit by bit, coming into the last corner each lap. A little dive here, a little dive there. That was heart-pumping stuff, John.
Yeah, I was trying to work them out a bit because they have different strengths in different areas, and those guys were getting quite feisty down the back straight. And I thought, oh, I could sneak round the inside here and add a bash, and it all panned out lovely.
Yeah, and on the last corner, what a great move.
Yeah, Hans, you know, I'm really pleased with that, really pleased, and big respect to Ali Bray and his boys because they drove very cleanly, and I'm sure it'll be a great year next year.
Going to come back to defend your title?
I think I'm going to have some sleep first and generally enjoy it for a minute, and then, yeah, we'll see.
Well, John, it's been brilliant watching you all season. Great racing. Well-deserved race victory and championship victory. Well done.
Thank you, Lloyd. Mega. Mega.
Brilliant.